All right, everyone, we're pretty set up for a nice video here. It's going to be a mixture of questions. It's going to be a mixture of going through teams from the private group, which is going to give you some help in making your decisions this week. The big news that's come out in the last couple of hours is that of Payne Haas and the fact that he's going to be out for this week, and they aren't sure what's happening with his knee pain. So it does look like they're going to see further help, another specialist to try and check things out with him because nothing's showing up structurally damaged in the scans that they did. So this is a very interesting situation because it is very, very likely that it is a 1 week out. And it is a good thing for him and his knee. Get some rest on it and then he can come back and score really, really well. That is how I was generally seeing it, that it's probably best for him to have a week off, get it right so that he can come back and actually do really well and not just be okay out on the pitch and also fantasy-wise as well. So that's the big one there. Obviously, there is a little bit of a worry that he could end up being out for a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. And then I understand why people would look to sell, but it is Payne Haas, and he is a 70s guy when he's doing big efforts, 60s for the most part, and then 50s on an off day, right? So if you are selling him now, I personally think the only reason you would be selling him was to be going up to Nico Hines, right? You have to have a few things in check. You must have Terrell May. Tick that off the list. I think Galvin, at least one of these two cheapies this week, a Galvin or a Firiaki. Galvin for me, but either one is fine. You have to make sure that you have cover for Grant next week if you're a Grant owner. And that's probably the biggest thing. I think if you're going to sell Haas, it has to be up to Hines because Hines has the Tigers matchup this week and he could go bang 80, 90, 100 and absolutely crush it. And you do have to captain him as well if you trade him in. So that would be my only reasoning for Haas being a trade. And that only works out, in my opinion, if it's a 2 to 3 week injury. If it's a 1 week injury, it's not worth it. The trade is not worth it. Just use him as a looper this week. And I have him in the head-to-head team and I'll try to use him as a looper. It's not easy, but I'll show you how to do it. And given they play the first game, you're going to have to put him in your starting team and then you're going to get some cover from your interchange or your emergency. So I'll show you how that can work. It's not easy, but I'll try and explain it as easily as possible, right? So that's the Payne Haas situation. I think that's where you got to play this one. And just this question here, I did forget to talk about Kurt Mann. Sorry about that. He is a very clear risk at play. Does he get the big minutes or does he not? That's the question. He's getting 50 at the moment. He's scoring a point a minute. There are plenty of games where you saw him play with the Knights where he got many less minutes than what he's currently getting. And then, mentioned Cleese Haas. I didn't speak about him either. Very fair. He could lose his spot to Fafita any minute. As soon as Fafita's back, Cleese Haas will be the one going out, not Beau Fermor. Okay, guys, Cotter and Lukey to Smithies and Curran. Please don't trade Cotter. That's a no. I'm just going to straight up say no to that one. All right. What else we got? Payne Haas out with a knee injury. Thank you for that, Andrew. Any of the recent ones we got here? While we're there, had to get rid of Ponga. He's been painful to watch, too many errors. Don't think he's the same player he was last year. It's tough. Feels like a mistake, that one, mate. I'd be holding Ponga. Haas out this week too. Not sure how long we lose him for. Yeah, that's the worry. Cooley or Chan a better buy. I do think Chan is... he's probably slightly a better buy this week. Has the 80 minutes. Cooley doesn't. But he also has a buy next week, Chan. If you've already got Grant, you've already got Pap, then it might be worth just going Cooley. If you don't have Grant, you've just got Pap or you've only got one of them, whatever, then Chan's probably the buy. So hopefully he sees this one. Either works is how I'm going to play that one. But yeah, we're going to go through some teams as well, which I'll show you here now as well. So we'll kick it off with our first one, and that's the Barindas boys. So thank you for chucking in the notes as well. He's coming 715th overall with a lovely couple of weeks scores. Had a big round 2, that's for sure. So he does have Payne Haas in his team, and all of these squads, guys, were sent before the Payne Haas situation. So most likely you just have him as a looper and make sure you have mid cover on your benches. So currently he doesn't have Terrell, and that's where I'd probably be looking at this stage. And he's got questions here of Flanagan and Fafita. So that's Viliami, I believe. Yep, he's got them in the interchange to Finnett and Galvin. So that's a very easy, simple, cheap trades. Wong and Flanagan to Galvin and Terrell. I think that is huge, and that is clearly the play to go. Or Wong and Flanagan to Galvin and Cotter. Both works. He's got Haas. He's already... this one he sent to me just then. All the rest, I don't have the knowledge of the Haas injury. Haas and Wong to Galvin and Hines, he could do, which would be interesting. But I do think you need to have the checklist of having at least Terrell Cotter as well. So at least one of those guys is going to be pretty important. And that means he'll have Brandon Smith out next week because he'll be covering for Grant at hooker. So I do think a mid is super important for you this week, mate. So I'd be going that far. His general notes is by far my best start yet. Unsure whether to trade hard now to consolidate my lead or play it a bit safer and pick up money makers. So a mixture, mate. You want to obviously get as much team value as you can. You've started well, and I'm sure your team value is going well at that. So make sure it's both at this point. Continue to stay up in that lead. And if you're doing so and getting good points, you will get money making. My possible trades, I'm leaning towards a Haas and Wong to Hines and Galvin because I feel like my team will be relatively weak this week, and a Hines captain against the Tigers could be the play to stay at the top. That's the reason you do it. He's got the Raiders next week before his bye, so it could go big. Haas trade seems a bit drastic, but my worry is if I keep him on the bench this week, I could lose ranks with Hosking benched as well. That's the thought, guys, but unfortunately, 60% of you guys are in the same situation. My head squad is in that situation as well. So most people are in it. It's unfortunate, but usually you just do have to cop it. And I personally would rather you go the Wong Flanagan to Galvin Terrell or Wong Flanagan to Galvin Cotter. And I think you can get good enough scores from both of those guys to help you this week. And it fixes up that situation with Wong and Flanagan. That's how I'd be playing it, mates. But a cracking start for you. That is for sure. Let's move back to some of the questions. All right, Haskell on what now? I just spoke about that. Is Galvin? I think Galvin. House confirmed out. Had Walsh, but saw their schedule and grabbed RTS this week. Got rid of Grant and grabbed Boyd. Oh, I'm not liking that at all. Mate, hold Grant on that one is how I'd be playing it. Thanks for the guys jumping in there. What's he got? Yeah, mate, I pulled the deal and just got rid of Lukey for May straight up. Yep, amazing. Lock that in. Got lucky with you on using 3 trades so far whilst having May, Lussick, Galvin, Finne, and not trading in Duncan. Good stuff. Good stuff, legend. Wong and Lukey to May and Finne, or Wong, Lukey to Lussick and Finne. I think that May is the trade in first. Lussick, you could go next week if you needed to do that. So first one is how we'll reply to that one. Am I better to bring in Lussick this week given a low break even? I don't really need him as I have Robson, or should I target a wing fullback to cover Paps next week? If you don't have any cover for next week, then I would suggest the second option is the way to go. Lussick is no must-have, but he helps if you've got Grant, Lukey and Flano out, and May and Galvin in. Lock it in. Not sure how I'll get Lussick in next week. We'll see. Maybe Totola and Cecily out for Lussick and a cheapie next week. Yeah, that could work out. Finne is an option only if you need Lussick, though. I don't think that, that's the only option, obviously, there as well. Let's get into our next team. Got a PDF format and everything, so how good. Thank you very much. And his team smells like a meat pie, so there you go. Hey, Jamie, thinking Galvin and Lussick in this week for Wong and Lukey. Yep, that sounds great. Keeps you some cash in the bank. Already has 209. Would have traded Tilly until Wong got dropped. Swing fullback around 4 planning is Keeney to Campbell next week, hopefully. Or I suppose either way it stays. And fingers crossed Tulpiki gets named round 4. Yeah. Likely, yeah, I agree with that. And then I have Karaz as third wing fullback. If Tulpiki isn't named round 4, then I have to use 2 trades in wing fullback, which isn't ideal, but not completely screwed. I could get Teddy or Walsh this week to try and hedge my bets, but I'm confident Campbell is back round 4 and CNK round 5 or later. Yeah, well, Keeney could play next week if he doesn't come back anyway. Not convinced. And Finn, Cowboys, PVM. The Finafuyaki. And minutes, if I get Lussick trading out, Levi, when he starts to peak, becomes an option. I'm not happy with my Bulldogs players, but we'll be mature and let them have this week to prove themselves against my poor Titans. Carraz's duel is valuable, but his scores are not. Yes, let's hope that the scores come up this week. And I think that they're solid trades, mate. You've got Terrell, Wong, the trade out clearly in your side, and then you could go for one of those guns with wing fullbacks. I don't have that as an issue at all, but currently you've got Keeney in there as cover already. So yeah, you only need one of them to still be there next week. Sorry, you do need both of them to be there next week, and that's likely at this point. So I think that's fine. And at worst, it is one wing fullback trade. Most likely would be the case. So, yeah, good stuff, mate. I think I'm happy with where your team's at. It's, ahead of mine at the moment. And no Payne Haas. Good news for you. Let's go one more before we get back to some questions. So this squad here, they've blanked out the name. Good stuff. But 15,411 overall there. Didn't use any trades in round one. Good stuff. Thinking trades of McInnes to May. Should have done it last week. Yeah, for sure. Lukey to Lussick. I think you could hold McInnes, like you've said there, thinking outside the box. I think he's going to score really well this week. Trade Lukey and Wong to May and Finnett or another cheapie. You already have Galvin. I think that is the trade, mate. Very simply. You can leave Lussick for a week, to be honest, and 100k in the bank. You could go like Hosking next week after, like, if he plays sort of 45 minutes or 50 minutes or something, then he has like a 30 break even next week or whatever it becomes. If he gets like a 30 odd, then he could be the trade to get you another good bit of hooker cover. It's probably how I'd play this one, mate. So good stuff. Thank you for sending your team in. All right, next bit of team. I think they sent me a couple there, but yeah, we'll put them next to each other. That'll work. There we go. All right, 2 of those. Let's do that one. Knock this one out of the way. So thanks for a little bit of a different way of doing it, but yeah, appreciate you sending this one through, mate. We'll pop them together. All right, we have options up top there. Grant, so Haas is captain last week, unfortunately loses his skipper. Wow, that makes it tough this week with the decisions of who to play. That's for sure. So yeah, that's the squad. It's the same team in it. I don't even need that second part. Anyway, let's go through it. What we've got now, a little bit of an issue on our bench. We need to probably sort out our Bostock out as well. Okay, we've got some things to do. We need a wing fullback this week. Arthur's will be fine. Do I have Keeney? Okay, you can slot him in for Bostock this week. So wing fullback is covered for now, but from next week onwards, I think wing fullback is a position we need to fix. Haas out this week means that, how's that going to work? Wong out, Pikura in. Hosking still plays. Okay, we need some help in the mids, edge, and wing fullback, really. Strange, we're good. For centers, edge, mids. Yeah, just no real gun, edge and mids. So you got, yeah, obviously outside of the guys in the starting side. Wong, I think that, moving him to like a Josh Curran could be really helpful for cover across mid and edge would be the play. In this one, obviously, Galvin could be a nice pickup. Who are you going to captain is the question. It probably is like Harry or Murray, isn't it? So, yeah, Wong to Curran if you can get up to that. And then potentially Flanagan, if you have enough, could get up a little bit higher. Like if you had a couple 100k in the bank, you could get up a little bit higher, which would be good. Or you just go for a Galvin, probably, in my opinion. Just you've already got enough halves. Finefuyaki could be the play just to get another edge in. Up to you on that one, because you do need, like, you can play Salmon obviously in that edge or mid, but it's not great. So yeah, somewhere up there would be my thoughts on this one. It's a bit of a different squad and I like it. I like it. Let's go back into some questions now, I should say. Where are we going? We've lost it. There we go. All right. Reynolds and Lukey to Hines and Finney. Feels a bit risky to not having money in the bank, but I love that upside. Yeah, I like it. Lock it in. Cleary, Hutcho, Strange, and Galvin. Don't need another half, but maybe like Hutcho's the play to sell next week, I'd say for sure. Getting Galvin, but who else between Lussick and Finney? I think Lussick this week. Finney, we're not expecting him in terms of that message there. We're not expecting him to play more than 55 to 60 with Goz on the bench. That's for sure. But who else between Lussick and Finn? People just mentioned Kurt Mann. It's an awkward one. There's not a lot in that sort of mid-tier. I'd rather just help you spend up. Go to a cheapie or spend up. Leave some money in the bank is kind of all it is. So go up or leave money in the bank. All right. Main team. Salmon plus Lukey to Lussick and Finney. Second team, Duncan plus Lukey to Finney and Terrell. Yep. Lock it in. Lock it in, mate. Lukey to Finney and Hutchison to Fogs. Yeah, that works. Cool. What's everyone's thoughts? Finney or Fainu? Finn. Just. Fainu's the upside play. Satilia hold. I think so now. Play Keeney or Salmon. It's just an interesting one. I think Keeney is the more upside play. Expect Salmon somewhere around the 30 odd mark unless he gets some attack, but Keeney could go bang. He just had a really tough first one. If it's a close game, he'll be better. Thinking of Lukey to Finnair, then Reynolds to Hines. We said that already. Reynolds to Sell. Yeah, that's fine. Can't wait for Storm, Sharks, Penrith, and South by. Hopefully gain ranks as have nobody from any of those teams. Wow, okay. Good stuff, Brett. First year fantasy, have a 1561 score. Who do I get for Wong? Yeah, just check out all the options I spoke about. There's a few of them in there. Question, I got 2 wing fullback out and no cover. 1 wing fullback who's injured and 1 wing fullback with the bye. Am I able to leave the injured wing fullback in starting lineup so I can get an interchange? No, they have to be a wing fullback. Wing fullback to cover in that position. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're looking at things like this. You must have cover in that position. I think Hosking you play in the 17. I have essays to do. Yeah, I think play him and then look to trade next week. Lukey and Flano Hutcho this week. Just trade Lukey and Flano. Lukey, Flano. Oops. Reply, Lukey and Flano. Cool. All right, let's get back into a few more of the squads now. All right, moving on to the next one. Matty Keyworth, what a legend. He does say, shout out to JB doing the Lord's work, going above and beyond the call of your standard YouTuber. Tip to the fans, the private group is awesome. For such a small price, JB and others really put in effort. Also, the JB singles are bloody comfy. Would recommend if you put them up for sale again. There you go. So there's a little shout out for next year's private group. Plenty of fun. Legend at that. But yeah, some good improvements from round 1 all the way to round 2, which is good. his little Buzz Lightyear meme up to the top. Good work, legend. Yeah, and his question is, am I looking at everyone the right way? Gun keeper, milk a bit longer, still plenty of money to make, and on the chopping block. Yep, gags on the chopping block. Yep, cheapies are fine. Yeah, how good's Hammer? That was a big win for you last week, mate, with the Hammer Time special. But yeah, a good increase in overall rank, thank goodness. I do think you keep the C on Cleary. Obviously, hopefully some better scores from Ponga. Last week's trades were Ruben Cotter and Satili to both Mays. So he followed me in on the Mays. But sadly, he goes, I'll cop it, the Ruben Cotter trade out. So he might be a trade back in at some point. Anyway, Haas being out really hurts this squad because mids on the bench, not a thing. A mid is very important this week. So you're looking at Lukey and Gagai out for Finette, Fainu, Lassick, Coruscant. No, Gagai just not in favour, unfortunately. Do I go for two trades again? Yes, I think so. Look, Fainu might be the play for you, mates. If you're not going to like a Curran, I do see Curran as being something decent, but how do you get to him is the question. Obviously, 4K in the bank is not ideal either, given you spent a lot of money in the centres and wing fullbacks. So, Lukey up to someone near Curran would be ideal. I think you're likely going to have to play Chan in your start, and then someone like Kinney moves up into your interchange. That's the only problem this week with Haas being out. You do need another mid, and you're already playing Salmon. So yeah, I'd look to get a couple, to be honest with you. Finne Fuyaki is an option as well for you, so it could be going to him, Finne Fuyaki, and also like a Curran is probably where you need to be at this point. How you do that? Levi could go down. No, that doesn't help you enough. I think you need a bit more, don't you? What, 530 or 540 for the great man? That's hard, actually. Lukey. Gee, Kurt Mann, could you do it? No. Yeah, Bostock making money. Yeah, I don't know. You need to find a way to get. Maybe it is Galvin this week. Maybe it's like Levi to Galvin, and then sort out Hooker next week. That gives you enough money to go Lukey up to Curran. That could be the option, I think, personally, because the mid or the edge is your current issue. Let's leave it at that, mate. Thank you for writing in. Good man. All right, let's move to the next one. Paddy's FC. Alrighty. So who should I start with and who to loop? All right, we'll sort of that after. He's traded Lukey and Finne to Wong to Lussick. Awesome, 354 in the bank. Alrighty then. So good overall rank to kick things off, 29.69. Question mark is that or Lukey to Curran, Wong to Lussick, 100k in the bank. If you're more worried about points this week, I would go number 2. If you just wanted sort of extra money making, like Curran's going to go up anyway, so it doesn't change too much, and you want to watch Finnair this week, then go for second one. I'm worried with having Grant Pappy Chan for bye next week, plus Hosking being named on bench, and Tuapiki potentially getting dropped for C&K next week. If that's all the case, then you probably have to trade Hosking and Tuapiki next week. Obviously, yeah, that is an extra bit of a stressor, isn't it? Especially when you got Vil for feeder. So, yeah, wow. Let's just hope that... Well, they're both going to play. So, at worst, they're going to play, I think. Tuapiki likely one more week. Vil for feeder, you probably don't want to be playing. At least Seb Chris will be back. So, yeah, there's a few worries in this squad and where it's at. But I do think, 1 week as well is not going to be the end of the world. If it is 16 in 1 week, there's that. But I do think you'll be fine if you make the correct trades next week. Obviously, playing guys like Hughes and everyone else isn't superbly ideal. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. That's for sure. So, yeah, that's that on that one. Thank you. Let's go to the next. A few more to go, guys. We're just hanging out, having fun. Appreciate you guys being in here. If you made it to this point, give me a salute. Big thumbs up in the comments. I was having a good laugh the other day when I asked anyone who stayed to the end to tell me what they had for lunch. Anytime you sent that through, I actually had a little bit of a chuckle. It was funny that was the thing that we decided to do. In this one, a big thumbs up. Maybe with some type of face as well like this would be good for the next one. All right, 3,728 is our man here. Very, very good start there. Trade options, Lukey to Finnair, Wong to Fogs. I like it with 163k. Lukey to Finnair, Wong to Lussick. If you feel like you want to improve your half, then do the Fogarty one. If you want to improve your hooker, I understand that, but you do have Robson and you don't need any extra help in that position right now. So, yeah. I don't think Lussick's a must-have at all. I definitely think that he could go down a little bit for sure, but if you are super keen, then that's great. But I do think if you like Fogs more, then go Fogs. So, I don't think he's a must-have at all. I'm hoping that he goes well because I'm looking to get him, but outside of that, not a clear must-have. The rest of your team looking good. Just get rid of Lukey and potentially Wong. 2 Wongs don't make a white. All right, what do we got? Hook neck week. All right, so the squad sets up pretty well without Haas, which is good. Wong needs to go. What else we got? Kohler, good score from him this week. Happy days. Keeney back in, awesome. Looking to loop Bostock. So in that scenario, guys, maybe even Hosking's a guy that he put in 5. And you can loop him straight up. If he has an absolute shocker, he gets like 30 minutes and gets 15 points, then Bostock doesn't need to come into play in this one. That's a potential thought that you can have on that. You can't loop in your centers or wing fullback this week. So, yeah, that's the play, I think. Either Hosking because he plays early. That's probably it, I reckon. Otherwise, I'm assuming you ended up... You've already traded? I don't think... No, actually wouldn't have traded. Wong still in there. Wong, if you got enough cash, probably helped if I had a bit of a thought on how much cash you had. But if that was the case and you had a bit there, then he could go right up. Like Terrell's obviously one that we want. If you can do him up to Terrell, Tupanua can go down to a Chibi, like a Finnair. That's probably the simplest one in this side right now, mate. Whoops. All right. There's one here with a couple of trades attached to it at some point. Yeah, this one, I think, with some couple of trades, which we'll see in a sec. There they go. All right. This one we're about to talk to, the trades are here that he's already used. Totola and Tupanua to Lussick and Finnair. 194k in the bank. Obviously, trades looking fairly similar this week, but there's always a way to go around it because of, how all of like the pod plays have done really well. A lot of them anyway in the first few games. So you can definitely always do something different, that's for sure, in your squads. But those 2 trades leaves him with a really strong side. Finnair is going to start this week. Doesn't have Haas. It's cool. Yeah. Overall, looks good, mate. I wouldn't change anything from the trades you have done. Good stuff. And then you've got cash in the bank for next week. All right, a couple more questions. Oops, there's one there. Not sure why that's there. Wait, may as well go through it. Sid's lost while we're here. All right, what's he got here? So, Wong to Finnair, Hutchison to Lussick or Fogg, Hosking's minutes. Yeah, you just got to cop it this week, unfortunately. Also need to upgrade Keeney at some point. Yep, that's fine to start this week. Other options, look, yeah, you can get Foggs if you want. If you're not too happy with your half situation. If you want to upgrade Hutchison, no issues at all with that. And then just get rid of Wong. You didn't have Lukey. Yeah, lock that in. That's completely fine. All right, what is more questions? Hutchison plus the Satilli for Terrell and Galvin. Yep, lock it in. I'm just so unsure on Hutch, man. One more week. Flanagan plus Satola to Lussick and Galvin. 110k in the bank. Yeah, pretty simple. Turbo must have this week if you have no plays out except Wong. I like it. Not a must have, but I like it. All right, these are all fairly similar questions. Thank you for your watching, Stu Pringle. Going Kenny and Lukey to Lussick and Galvin this week, which leaves me 268 in the bank. I was looking to trade Hutchison, but with the Dogs versus the Titans, I'm taking your advice and holding my Dogs players and crossing my fingers. Sweet. I do think Lukey could be Kenny could be a hold this week, but I do understand. So that works. All right, I'll go and answer these individually, considering they're all very similar. All right, no trades have been made in the D-bags. He's got Brandon Smith as cover. We don't need Lussick. Lukey is the guy to trade. 1k in the bank. All right, so in this scenario, has Galvin already. There's no one really of note in the cheaper category than 492, so maybe it's just a straight drop to Finnair. Leave plenty of bank available for upgrades next week for any of these sort of cheapies that are done in like a Levi and stuff like that. Could really be helpful. Yep. Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably the best scenario here. You can decide next week what to do with like Satilli, Totola, all these type of guys. You could go Satilli down if you wanted to this week and Lukey up to a gun. That's a theory as well. And is that it? Cool. We're all done. All right. Thanks, guys. That was plenty of fun. Got a lot of those questions answered. I'll try and get in and go through most of them, but I think they're all very similar. McInnes hold, start Cooley. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Me saying Kula Kefe, which is in Samoan is not great, but yeah, it's good to have a laugh at. I got 24 likes on that, so I'm glad it provided some fun to you guys. That one there. This video, guys, are replacing the head-to-head style of video just for this week, because head-to-head, guys, it's all about just building up some money. You can base it off how you've gone the first 2 weeks. If you're winning your matchups to start, just really focus on the money-making aspect. If you haven't started too well, maybe focus on points gen a little bit and try and get a win or two on the board. But obviously, in that scenario, you will be making money as you go anyway. So that's the head-to-head portion. Any head-to-head guys that have made it to the end, give me a shackers as well. So thanks, guys, and we'll catch you in the next few videos.